We're reviewing on this video Stephanie White's post-game press conference following the Indiana Fever demolition of the Dallas Wings yesterday and the exceptional performance by Caitlin Clark in leading the offense, pushing tempo, dominating pace, getting Dallas to make mistakes, and pushing the lead to as many as around 30 in the third quarter. And the fact that Caitlin Clark put up 13 assists in 25 minutes of basketball, contributed 41 points in 25 minutes of basketball when you add assists and her points together, and also had a 13 assist to 2 turnover game, and how the last two games have looked way different than how games in the past have looked, even with Caitlin Clark on the floor. Because when Caitlin Clark is on the floor and doing Caitlin Clark things, you see a difference in how the team looks. So we're going to explore and review Stephanie White's post-game press conference to get her thoughts and give our comments and feedback as to what she had to say following yesterday's game. Take a listen. But before we do that, welcome back everyone to another edition of Rudy's Rant, where we talk facts over feelings. Her game, her way, women's basketball. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Showmont. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. I appreciate y'all continued support up the channel. But let's get right on into it. Like, subscribe, and follow. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts, because that's what I care about.
A list of all the things you liked today.
I
given,
like the
given that it's better than some of the other nights to say that.
yeah. I mean, I like the first half. I like the fact that we had a 75% assist rate. 30 assists on 40 made field goals is really good. That we took care of the ball. 23 points off of turnovers is really good. I thought we rebounded the ball, fairly well. Scoring in the paint, I liked all that. And really again, like the first 20 minutes, and again, and we say this over and over and over, but it's about building consistency, and it's about stacking that. Like, we have to put 40 minutes together to get to where we want to get to. That's our journey.
Does Stephanie White have a smile in her? I mean, I'm just asking. Does she have a smile in her? Her team just played arguably its best 40 minutes of basketball, starting from the second half of the Atlanta game to the first half of this game. And she says we had 30 assists, 75% assist rate. That's great. No commentary to open up about the fact that her dynamic point guard looked like her dynamic point guard. No comment to the fact that her dynamic point guard, Caitlin Clark, controlled tempo, controlled pace, and did all that stuff in the first half. And then magically in the second half, the game slowed down. She points to consistency and or lack thereof, and she forgets that she is a large part and a large reason for the consistency or lack thereof. She's the one that put Harry McDonald to start a game 3 games ago against Golden State. That was her decision. She's the one that's been messing with rotations. Michaela Timpson doesn't play in a game on Friday, but then she plays a whole bunch of minutes on Sunday and has 9 shots. It's you want to know where the lack of consistency comes from on this team? You're looking at her. Let's talk about it. Let's keep listening.
How do you think Caitlin set the tone defensively? I know we talked so much about her offense, but you had to steal there early in the game on Paige for a layup. And I think it ended up with 5 tying her career high.
Yeah, and she had, I think, 7 deflections. You can tell she's starting to feel a little bit better, more explosive. Her anticipation's really good. She read the plays, she read the rotations.
Wow, a compliment. Holy freaking hell. That must have taken a lot.
Did a really good job of getting a hand in the passing lane, staying disciplined to tip it so that she could go steal it. And that's what it's going to take from her, consistently. She's got to be able to to bring the offense and the defense, on the other end of the floor. And she's continued to grow in that area throughout the course of the season. And for us to accomplish the things that we want to accomplish, she's got to take more pride in that. And I think she's done that.
Back-to-back really strong offensive performances, where do you feel like the offense is, just the way that you're all able to share the ball? Obviously, shot 52%, especially in that second quarter too, the way that you all were able to get in transition.
Yeah, I think we got it moving. It started with our defense because we were able to get out in transition. Not just getting steals for scores, but also forcing tough shots, getting rebounds, getting the ball out and going. For us to play in transition, we got to lock in on the defensive end. And the ball was moving. We were playing close to 0.5 basketball in that second quarter. And really, even though it was back and forth a little bit in the first quarter, I felt good about where we were offensively in the first quarter, not defensively. I think they were shooting like, I don't know, high 60% or something like that at the first quarter. But that's our journey, and that's where we got to get to. And we got to try to minimize the lulls where we start over dribbling and dribbling the entire shot clock or dribbling.
The fuck is she talking about? Dribbling and over dribbling the shot clock. What? This team is at its best when Caitlin Clark is pushing the tempo of the game. When in the world do they over dribble and get in these lulls? They get in these lulls when you slow them down. You get in these lulls. They get in these lulls when when you take the foot off the gas. The second quarter, they look great, and you still didn't acknowledge the fact the ball was moving because your point guard was pushing pace and dominating the game. She didn't have to make a single shot really to dominate that game because she was pushing the tempo. This woman is I don't know, man. I'm waiting to hear her sit here and say something that just actually resembles what we just watched. I'm waiting to hear her one time acknowledge that, you know what, we should probably never slow the tempo down in any game until the final 2 minutes and we're up 25. Like type of stuff. No, instead it's, the lulls. Well, the lulls are happening because you slow the game down to a crawl. You pulled every starter out with like 6 minutes to go, 5 minutes to go in the game. You're sitting your point guard down after she plays 3.5 minutes in the third quarter or 4 minutes in the third quarter. She played 25 minutes of a 40-minute game. I truly just don't get half the stuff this woman says. We all watched the same game. We all saw what they look like in the second quarter. And that was largely because Caitlin Clark was pushing the hell out of the ball. The tempo was being pushed. This game went from being 33-31 with 7:49 to go in the first half to 58-35. 58-35. That's a 25-4 run. Like, I don't know, man. I don't get her. I don't get what she does when she does it. It's frustrating. And yet she'll sit here and yeah, part of that run, Clark wasn't in the game. But Clark's one that got the run going. And I think taking her out also takes her off of a rhythm. And then she gets put back in the game. And it's just like, I'm not following the logic of what goes on with how this team gets run. Like, you can kill momentum with the decisions that Stephanie White makes. They're painful.
For 10 to 12 seconds and get it moving to get it back. But for 3 games now with our whole roster and no real practice, I'm pleased with our progress.
Did you hear her? Did you hear what she just said? With our full roster and no practice. Oh my goodness. Are they talking about Damaris Dantes as well? This woman just said with no practice. So the truth did just come out. You don't practice. The truth just did come out because according to y'all, Caitlin Clark practiced on Monday. She practiced on Tuesday. I presume she practiced Thursday after they got skull drug on Wednesday by Golden State. She had to practice Thursday. I presume y'all practice on Saturday, before the game Sunday. So you practice or you don't practice? Which one is it? I mean, I don't know. I'm just curious.
Issues with taking the players taking their foot off their
Mhm.
off the gas in the second half. Just how encouraging was it to get that 20-point lead in the second quarter and then maintain it the rest of the game?
It was encouraging, certainly, for us to be able to maintain it, to be able to stop some of their runs that they went on. That's encouraging. I think we were outscored in the second half though. And sometimes it's hard to play with those leads, but those leads are never safe in this league.
No shit, you got outscored second half because you slowed the game down. That's what you did. You imposed your will on the game.
They just aren't. And so for us, again, our journey is to be able to expand on those leads, right? To be able to
The lead got to 30, Stephanie. The lead got to 30 or so. Let's see. What was the exact number of the lead? It was 64-39 in the first half at one point. And the third quarter, it was 75-47, 76-47. So that's a 29. That was the largest the lead was. 76. Actually, no, they got it back to 81-52. So they got it at there was 29 with 2 minutes and change, just under 2 minutes to go, under 3 minutes to go in the third period. I mean, hey. Oh no. Oh no.
continue to keep our foot on the gas, not just kind of being in neutral, right? We want to keep going forward. We want to keep progressing. We want to keep growing in the areas that we need to grow.
Steph, you've seen Paige twice this season and how efficient she's been.
Mhm.
You've been a rookie in this league. Can you explain just what we are seeing and maybe how much we should appreciate that level of,
Yeah.
I guess, greatness that early on?
Yeah, I mean, she always stays neutral. She doesn't get rushed. Her pace, her poise, her decision making. She just is a very neutral mindset. And when you play somebody who is really high IQ, who is elite in all areas, and you try to make them uncomfortable, but they kind of just maintain that flow. It makes it tough. I mean, that's the difference in good players and great players, right? And she's only, I don't know how many games in, right? So it's just it's fun to watch. Not as an opponent on the other sideline, but for a lot of young players that come into this league, there's a learning curve, and how quickly they figure it out is always interesting to see. And for Paige, she's figuring it out.
So there you have it. There you have it. There you have it. That is the interview with Stephanie White, post-game interview from yesterday's game. I gave my commentary as we went through. It wasn't as bad as some of the others, but her body language sucks. I mean, there are body language experts. Her body language sucks. She doesn't really give Caitlin Clark a lot of credit for the offense. She talked about her tipping some balls, but their offense was going because Caitlin Clark was creating the easiest of baskets that you could ever create. She created 10 layups in this game. Layups. And they missed a few others. But she created nothing but layups for her teammates. And that is something that you should be acknowledging in your post-game press conference rather than, and this is my opinion, rather than just simply saying, oh, we had 30 assists. Well, you had 13 from one player. You had 13 from one player, and that player created 41 points in 25 minutes and played 60% of the game. And yet she created 40% of your offense. And your thoughts are about the team with 30 assists. Start somewhere. It starts with your best player doing that. It starts with your best player limiting turnovers. Why not compliment the fact that Caitlin Clark controlled the ball really, really well. She didn't give up any she didn't turn the ball over at all. She didn't force it. She let the game come to her and she dominated. Like, I would love to hear that from my coach. That's something that I would want to hear from my coach. I'm like, but you don't hear it. Yeah, she played some defense. She tipped some balls. Okay, great. She's always done that. She's always been able to do that. Problem with Caitlin Clark defensively has never been reading passing lanes and tipping balls and help side. Caitlin Clark's biggest issue defensively is on ball defense. That has always been her biggest issue. So, when you get steals, I don't really call steals like steals in a game unless you're getting them steals on the ball. And a majority of them come on, steals from passes and hitting the passing lanes. Unless you're getting steals picking someone's pocket, I mean, largely what you're doing is you're playing help side defense. And I've always found her to be good at help side defense. I think she's a very smart player. Why aren't you complimenting her high IQ rather than Paige Becker's high IQ as a basketball player? Little things like that stand out because I'm waiting. Like that game yesterday was an absolute annihilation in the first half. And the only reason the game got under 20 was because you slowed the pace down in the fourth quarter. You did that. You're the coach. And when you take Caitlin Clark out of the game, you're able to really impose your will on the backups. So, y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. Like I said, it wasn't as bad as others have been, but man, can she crack a smile? They've just finished playing their two best games of the season. Yes, they remain consistently inconsistent, and that's on her because of how she tries to stop things from happening, i.e., stop pushing tempo. But end of the day, that was their best two games of basketball all season, back-to-back smashing blowouts. You can't ask for much more than that. And yet, the person who did it all, 22 points, 22 assists to only 4 turnovers over those two games. You don't recognize that? You don't see that? You don't acknowledge that? You don't say it? Interesting. Y'all like the video. Let me know y'all thoughts. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. This is Rudy's Rant, Her Game, Her Way Wins Basketball. Come on now.